This is seriously so silly. Everybody's like passing me and like staring at me. Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'm so excited. I have a great project for you guys. We are being inspired by my favorite beverage today, which is obviously Baja Blast from Taco Bell. There is no better beverage in the world in my opinion. So I want to sew a 1940s evening gown inspired by Baja Blast. I've been on this mission since I saw a certain fabric, which we'll talk about in a second. This is not sponsored, although I wish Taco Bell and Baja Blast would sponsor me. That would be pretty cool because I do love their product and I do believe in their product. Oh, and I just spilled Taco Bell Baja Blast all over my dress. Great beginning. I'm already covered in Baja Blast and we have hardly even begun. Let's start with the fabric. The fabric was sort of the inspiration. This is not the inspiration fabric. This is just gonna be the lining. This is a really beautiful silk charmeuse from Dharma Trading Co. And then this, ooh good, it's doing the things. I'm hoping this layered over it. This is still a bit bluer, but I think it'll work out okay. I don't know how easy it is to tell on camera, but it's like it looks wet and kind of fizzy, and that is why I like saw this fabric and I was like, I have to make something on this fabric. And then I drank Baja Blast and I was like, oh my god, that's it. So that is what we're doing today, and we are using a 1940s evening gown pattern. This pattern here, which is McCall's 7013. This I am going to do the long sleeve version, which while not very summery, I think it'll be great because it'll be like sheer. I'm so excited about this project. I also am going to be making a matching hat and purse. I just put in the order for supplies today, and I'm guessing they should arrive over the next week or two. So I think they'll come in perfect timing for me to make my accessories for this gown. But I am so excited about this project. I've been staring at this fabric. I've had this fabric for a couple months, and today's the day we're starting the project. My plan is to cut each piece of fabric on different days because I think this is gonna be a really frustrating cutting process. So I'm gonna space it out a little bit. But with that, let's go ahead and jump into cutting. So first things first, I needed to fix this bodice pattern. The seller of this pattern had noted the fact that the skirts had been cut. However, the top of this had also been cut off, I think to give, I know exactly what this person was doing for their sleeves by doing this, but I wanted to have the kind of, I guess, fuller coverage up there. So what's really great is when you have your facing pieces, you can kind of basically guess how this is put together and fix it yourself. So here I am just laying over the facing over the part of the bodice that was severed. And then I am taping everything down to the table. After everything's taped down to the table, I am laying some tracing paper. I don't know what type of tracing paper this is. I've had it since college, so it's a mystery. However, it worked perfectly for this, and then I'm just tracing and transferring all the marks and things like that. And then I have a complete piece, and then I am just doing this again with the back bodice piece as well. So super easy fix, lucky me, but still an annoying step I did not expect to do. And now for the fabric cutting and laying out. First I am doing the lining because I knew this fabric would suck. This is the silk charmeuse and it did suck, I was correct. Here I'm just laying out my pieces. It's hard to tell from this angle, but the bottom part of that skirt is actually cut because this was cut and pieced together on probably like a 36-inch wide fabric because the skirt is so long. I also had pre-shortened this. The pattern had you shorten by just cutting off how much you wanted. I had pre-shortened this about 6 inches, so that way I didn't waste as much material and this would then fit without me needing to piece it. Also, I'm fairly short, so I didn't need it to be any longer. I did keep the pieces in case I ever want to put it back together, but that is kind of it. Like I said, this charmeuse was not fun to work with, and I also, I guess the last thing to note is I did, one of the pieces is a pace-on fold piece, but because I want to zipper up the back, I went ahead and cut down that with seam allowance, and then all of this I am cutting with French seam intentions, so that way I can reduce the fraying since all of these fabrics will fray pretty poorly. After the laborious journey through the silk charmeuse, this still not very fun chiffon felt like much more fun. It stuck to itself, which was really nice. It was really easy to get everything flat and pretty easy to cut it, so I was happy, I guess, to cut this one out. I do wish I had cut these both on different days because I was pretty exhausted by the time this was done. And I also wasn't expecting to have to repair and do as much work to the pattern before I could even cut it as I did. I got it all done. Spooky was also napping, so this was a fairly easy cutting out process compared to if she had been playing in this fabric while I was cutting it. That would have driven me nuts. If you pay close attention, you'll notice I didn't cut sleeves of the lining. I want the sleeves to be sheer, so I am just cutting it out of this chiffon. But yeah, in summary, chiffon is a lot more fun to cut after you've cut charmeuse. So if you ever want to hate chiffon less, do charmeuse first. Morning. I know I'm a little overdressed for the occasion, but everything aligned. I have this wedding dress that I hauled recently, and I've been wanting to take photographs in it, and I've been waiting for the certain bush to bloom and certain lighting to happen, and it's happened. So yes, did I put on a wedding dress at 8 a.m. on a Saturday and go take some photos? Yes, I did, but they're gorgeous and well worth it. That is why I'm dressed like this. I will be changing shortly. I just thought I would check in before I change to try to give you like a reality dose of like some of the things I do to create. This morning I'm pretty excited. I'm feeling really motivated and the weather is supposed to be pretty bleh, so it's like a perfect day to sew. Lately we've been having beautiful weather that does not motivate me to sew, so I'm pretty excited to see some weather that will make me want to be indoors and sew. Today my goal is just to get the bodice and the sleeves done, and then tomorrow my goal will be to get the skirt done. So we'll see how all of that goes. I'm actually gonna change before I even take a sip of this tea because this dress, I keep this dress stored in an archival box with archival tissue paper. I just took it out to take photographs in and now I'm putting it back away. I did finish cutting everything yesterday. I was gonna spread it out over 2 days, which I wish I did because the pattern was wacky. It had some adjustments I had to make and some redrafting I had to do, which was not ideal. My plan to spread it over 2 days was foiled by a 70-degree day where I just wanted to go outside and walk for hours as opposed to like cut something out. So that's what I did. And this fabric sucked. The shiny fabric, the over fabric, it's totally actually fine. I didn't mind working with that because the sparkly spray is almost sticky to itself. So it was really pretty easy to cut, but the silk charmeuse was a nightmare. I knew it would be, but it was really, truly terrible. It was probably the worst thing I've ever cut. Did not enjoy. 0 out of 10. Would not recommend. Even though the fabric itself is so beautiful and I know it will all be worth it, but I can definitely tell you this is gonna be a project that is a marathon, not a sprint, because I'm gonna need to take breaks because I don't think this stuff is gonna be fun to sew either. With that, let's go ahead and kick off the sewing. I will see you out of this dress into something more comfy and at my machine. So first things first, I am starting out with flatlining everything on the bodice. I am not going to be flatlining the skirt, however for the bodice I felt it was needed, and it was very tricky to get this fabric to lay flat. I could tell it would bag weird if I didn't get this perfectly, but then after I finished getting these laid out and pinned, I then went around with my machine and I just basted all of the edges, ideally within a seam, but we'll kind of see how that works out. And then here I am sewing the darts. The darts were pretty hard and I did not really enjoy sewing. I expected this, but it still wasn't fun. Both sides were just slippery and it was hard to make sure that both sides were tacked. It wasn't ideal, but I got it done and they look pretty good. There is some weirdness in one of them, but this fabric is not a good fabric to need to unpick on, so I'm just leaving it as is. Here I am sewing on the facing. So the facing, in this case I had to add again an extra 1/2 inch of seam allowance straight down the middle of the back so I could have that back zip. And then I am just sewing this as you would usually sew a facing, first sewing it normally, then clipping all of the corners, and then after that understitching it so it lays nice and flat. Originally I was not going to have a layered facing because I felt it would be too bulky, but I was worried about the teal peeking out too much if it wasn't faced with the sparkly fabric as well, and I didn't want the illusion of the light teal to be broken, so I went ahead and did that double layer facing. And then just a note on the pressing the polyester chiffon was not very fun, so I used a press cloth to protect the fabric and my iron so I could iron it on a higher heat with steam to get everything to press really, really nicely. This worked really well. However, it is always a little bit challenging to iron blind the way I was. I do need to get a sheer pressing cloth. So this is the bodice thus far. I just was trying it on Ignore the back. It's a mess because I just spaced it in the zipper. I just wanted to make sure this was close to fitting before I did the sleeves or the skirts, just because this is not the funnest fabric to work with. So, and I really don't want to be ripping out a ton of stitches, or any, but definitely not a ton. It's turning out really well. It's looking really pretty. It's definitely kind of more of like a boat neck than maybe I expected. From looking on the camera, it's shiny, it's pretty. I definitely am really liking this. And the shiny fabric isn't bad to sew with. It's just the silk charmeuse underneath that really sucks. So far so good. I just wanted to check in. I am going to now get the sleeves on, and then that'll conclude my sewing for the day. Now knowing the bodice fit, I am now doing a few different things to prep the sleeves. First, I am running gathering stitches around the cuff and then around the top of the sleeve. And then I am sewing the sleeve closed with a French seam to keep all the fraying edges together. And then here I am inserting the sleeve into the bodice. This one was pretty poofy at the top, which was nice, but the markings didn't quite add up, so I did something probably weird with my French seams. But it's okay because I was able to just gather the extra bit of fabric I had into the head of the sleeve. And then here I am gathering the bottom of the sleeve for the cuff, which is made out of a bias strip. This was pretty straightforward. It was a pretty straightforward bias double fold process where I stitched this down with the bias tape and then I folded it over and stitched it down again. I did hand stitch it on the inside so it would look super nice, but that is it. It was really straightforward, and I think these sleeves turned out really great. This last step on the sleeves, since I didn't want any fraying bits in the armpits, I just put a bias tape around the sleeve head so that way I would not deal with like itchy armpits essentially, especially with a metallic fabric like this that is really prone to fraying. Good morning. So we are on, I guess, day 2 technically, or day 3 of this project, but I've taken, I think, a 4-day gap. We are currently after work and I am getting started on sewing for today. I just kind of didn't feel like sewing Sunday because I was feeling kind of tired and not great mentally, so I decided to not sew that day. And then Wednesday is a day that I work from home, so I'm able to be here and like when I'm done with work, just close my computer and not deal with the commute and all that. So we are sewing today. We are going to try to get the dress finished. This is the bodice. I've tried it on. I'm really excited. I absolutely love this. Everything's like going pretty well. This fabric isn't terrible to sew with. Like, I won't say it's my favorite fabric in the world, but it's certainly not the worst. So I do think I can wrap up this today because I just have essentially like 10 more seams, I think. I just have to basically seam the skirts, the top skirt together, the bottom skirt together, and then seam those to each other, attach them to the bodice, and just put in the zipper. I think I can do that all this evening. And the other thing is that Sunday, one of the reasons I think I was too tired is I went to the farmer's market to again get these gorgeous flowers and eat some pastries, and then I went to a vintage shop. So I kind of was pretty busy Sunday, and when I got home from all that, I just wanted to sleep and I didn't really want to sew. So yeah, so we're gonna get started on this today, but first I'm going to give you the reminder that I have a Ko-fi, which is where you can go over and buy me a coffee if you want. This is of course not required, but I just want to throw it out there because I do put a lot of time and resources into this channel. And while I love making these projects, they do cost me a good amount of money. So if you feel the desire to go over and buy me a coffee, you definitely can. I have that linked down below, and I would really appreciate it. Anytime someone buys me a coffee, it absolutely makes my day. But now with that, let's go ahead and jump into the sewing. Here I am sewing the lining again. I am doing this first thing because I knew this would be the more annoying fabric to work with because it's the silk charmeuse. I am just doing these straightforward with French seams. And then here I am pinning the skirt to the bodice. Pretty straightforward, it just takes a certain amount of time, and the skirt was definitely, I again did math wrong with French seams, or these stretched really weird on the bias. I don't know which it is, but they definitely were a little bit of a weird place that I had to kind of figure out how and where to put in the extra fabric, which in the end just got kind of folded into like the zipper part. Speaking of the zipper, this is the zipper that I am putting in. This fabric was really hard, and in retrospect, I realized I forgot to put in the usual facing tape I use that makes zippers much easier for me to sew, and it is the worst zipper I have ever done in my life. And now we are about a week later. This dress has been hanging in the bathroom for a week, so the bias has had ample time to stretch and do weird things. So here I am cutting it in a kind of by eye way. This is would not recommend doing it this way, but I didn't know how else to do it, and I don't have a stand yet for my mannequin. That would have been the ideal way to do it. So I'm just like approximately looking at things and trying to get them fairly level. I came relatively close, but I did at some point stop leveling things out because it felt like a haircut that was getting shorter and shorter, and that is not the intention of this dress. I still want this dress to be a pretty full and long length. I did stop cutting eventually. It is not completely perfectly even, but I think for the first time working with such hard materials on the bias like this, it was a pretty good try. And then here I wanted to show how I got a rolled hem. A lot of times fabric this slippery does not roll like into a hem very well. So first I am stitching just a line that is 3/8 of like away from the edge. And then after I stitch this line, I'm going back and sewing it down with the line that I just stitched at the folds. And then after I'm finished sewing that down, I'm going in and I'm trimming the ends that kind of went over where maybe my stitch wasn't completely even. And then after that, the last step of this is then basically taking that edge and rolling it, and then you have a nice neat rolled hem. I just find that my rolled hem foot doesn't work well with these types of fabrics, so it is easier and neater for me to use this method, even though this method takes forever and is not a quick way to hem a skirt. And I did this also with the silk charmeuse layer as well, and it worked great for that too. All right, so I am outside, so we're just gonna hear some different noises. I am working on my next part of the project, which I'll talk you through while I mix. Oh, I need to put on my gloves. So for this part, I am working on the purse, and my goal is to have some liquid in the bottom that looks like Baja Blast. So first we're doing safety measures. That is why we're outside. I've read that resin, while technically not toxic, it's like not really recommended you do it in a closed space. And just since I have a cat, I just feel like it's a good call to do the resin out here. What the heck? And I'm just, like I said, I'm trying to get this closest as possible to the color of Mountain Dew. So we're gonna see how that goes. And I'm wearing also like kind of my cruddy clothes for this. Also, like, people can see me as they walk by, so this is gonna be kind of awkward for me, but oh well. So my understanding is you put equal parts of each in here, and then you stir it together until there's a chemical reaction. I have no idea what I'm doing. I have not done resin before, and I read basically that you're not supposed to pour it too thick. I am pouring it thicker than you're supposed to because you're not supposed to because of bubbles. But since I want this to mimic soda, I actually kind of want bubbles. So yeah, I don't know. Like I said, no idea what I'm doing. But we're pouring the first part of the agent and then the next. And I guess it gets hot. This is rough. Oh, what the heck? There is none coming out. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. What is going on with this? Oh, there it goes. This is probably not the way to do this, but it's not working well the other way, so here we are. All right, it wants me to stir until it's clear. I can see two separate layers. I don't know if my spatula is even long enough. I think it's a good thing I want bubbles because this is very bubbly. Okay, I'm gonna real quick go get a spoon inside. All right, I tried not to touch things inside. I luckily have this really long parfait spoon. That's very convenient. Okay, so I'm gonna be stirring this for 5 minutes. I'm read that you're supposedly supposed to feel it start to heat up. This definitely smells foul, so I'm definitely glad I am doing it outside. It is getting clearer though, I will say that. I have some glitter and some little bubble things to put into it that I thought would be fun since we're doing resin. And then I also have some dye. The dye was what took the longest to get here. I was actually quite frustrated because it's been in Seattle since Wednesday and today is Saturday and it didn't deliver till now. And it's supposedly, it said it wasn't shipped due to weather delay, but I think it's because Biden was in town. Him being in town just caused all sorts of traffic issues. Admittedly, not a huge fan of presidents visiting Seattle because it causes so much traffic and so many like just infrastructure problems, ironically. Ugh, my arm hurts from stirring. I am so out of shape. We still got at least 2 more minutes left. This is seriously so silly. Everybody's like passing me and like staring at me. 1 more minute, 2 more minutes, I think actually. Gosh darn it. How many more minutes do we have? We just have 1 more minute, guys. All right, we are there. So now we're gonna try to get the color of Baja Blast here. Jesus Christ. So hopefully, oh, how do I open this? This is chaos. Okay. I have a needle from my sewing machine, so hopefully that'll work. Oh dear God. Okay, it's open. Okay, we're just gonna start with 1 drop. Okay, sure, that worked, kind of. Gonna put in a couple more. Oh, interesting, it's much more blue once you stir it. I am gonna need more green, I think, tint. Okay, let's put in like significantly more drops. Oh no, this is now way too blue. Way too blue, okay. Let's see, teal? Let's try teal next. Okay, this time we'll try not to spurt it everywhere. Okay, let's see what happens now. It's not Baja Blast colored at all. That got it closer. I don't know, and part of me is like, should I just give up trying to get it close to Baja Blast? Ooh, I just found like a sticky bit. Okay, we're gonna try the even greener shade. Oh no, this is its blue. What color are you? Jade. Let's see what jade does. This is not as far from it as I thought it would be. Oh, Jesus Christ. No, no, no. You need to stay here. This is so hard. I'm not meant to be outdoors. We're just gonna put like the tiniest amounts of drops of this. God, get off me. 1, 2. Okay, let's see what that does, and then we're gonna call this pretty good. Okay, 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 we're getting somewhere. Yeah, that's looking pretty Baja Blasty. Ah, stop it. Okay, if you compare it to this guy here, I think this is pretty close. I'm excited. This is working out wonderfully. Okay, so now the next thing I have is I have some glitter that I got. I did open these before, so that way I could, oh dear. Okay, well, it's just gonna have that much glitter in it. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Whoops. Ooh, I like it. It doesn't look Baja Blasty anymore though, because I put in way more than I planned. Darn it. Okay, well, yeah, not as Baja Blast looking, but it's very fun. Should I put in the other things? Sure, why not? We're already far gone on it looking like Baja Blast at this point. Okay, so I have these guys. Oh, stop it! I hate it out here. I hate outside. Okay. I have no idea what these will do, but they're fun. I think I poured in like the whole bottle. This is pure chaos. Just the type of crafts I like. Okay, I'm not convinced that you can even see these with the glitter in it. Okay, but I think we're getting ready to pour into the Baja Blast cup. Obviously not the cup I am currently drinking out of. Yeah, you can't see the little bubbles at all. I really do regret dumping this much glitter in it, but what can you do? Okay, so now I think I'm gonna take out the spoon. It's a very nice color. I'm just gonna mix it a little bit more. This is so crazy. I'm so excited though. It's everything I desired. Oh no, I'm making a giant mess. I have overflowed the cup here, and I want to kind of show you guys how it looks inside. I don't even know if my camera's focused, but hopefully you saw something. Okay, so let's real quick. Okay, so now, so we're gonna just pour some of this in here. The goal is not to pour all of it. I just want enough in the bottom to look like Baja Blast. Sure, like that. And then I just want to set it up on a tilt. So I will have to figure that out. But I think this is all I want in here. And then the other thing I want to do is this, because I want a straw in it that goes to center. I am leaving room for it to like off gas or whatever. But yeah, I think that's it. I think I'm just gonna pour this stuff out in a blob. Actually, I have a mold. I'll be right back. We're gonna let this set quite a few hours, I think actually, like 48. Hopefully you enjoyed this very chaotic crafting experiment. All right, so we are back. My Baja Blast spooky, there's hot glue. There you go. My resin turned out great. It looks enough like Baja Blast that I keep accidentally trying to, or getting excited because I think I have Baja Blast. So the resin worked really well. It's pretty hard. It's 2 days later. I let it cure more than it says it needed. So next up is figuring out the hat and stuff. So for the hat, I want kind of a Baja Blast cup lid like this. Is kind of the vibe I'm going for. Stop it, spooky. So first I want to have a straw in it. So I have one of these straws. I need to get this to, stop it, spooky. So my thought is I'm gonna hot glue this one down because then it'll kind of act like a stopper. I don't know, because it's like stuck to the glue. I don't know. We're gonna try this. This is my first attempted method. I'm sure my camera's just focusing on spooky. Okay, this is not working. Well, we'll give it a try. I actually think once it dries, it'll be fine. Spooky, she loves straws. Fun fact about Spooky, I love you. Yeah, she loves straws. No, this is not, I super don't love when you bite my straws, but this is a time where I really don't want you to bite my straw. So my other thoughts for the hat is I have these, which are 1940s like mint berries, and they kind of are, oh no, some of them fell off. They're kind of Baja Blast looking to me, so I think it might be cute if they were like hanging off the hat, but we'll see. I'm not set on it. I wanted to show you guys how I'm gonna make this cup a purse. So basically, I'm just gonna pop some holes across from each other with using this dowel thing. I have my fingers out of the way. Okay, so there's a hole. How far down is that hole? About an inch. Okay, sure. This is about halfway across. Oh, Jesus. Okay, but I have my mark. And now I can puncture it again. Ooh. And then I just need to make a second hole beneath it. Second hole beneath this guy too. And then I have these jump rings. And then I just gotta stick it through. Jesus. Okay. And then what's great is once I have two of these across from each other, I can just take a vintage chain with the hooks on the end and string it through both of these, which is what I'm gonna do. And then I have a purse. And the other thing, I have hella rhinestones. I also have some netting. I have a bunch of different things that I'm excited to try some different stuff with. And then I also got E6000 glue, which I will remove spooky when I start using this. I got the precision tip one. My plan is to rhinestone basically around both cups here. And then on the Taco Bell cup, my plan is to cover all the little bell shapes in rhinestones, which is gonna take forever, but it's gonna be worth it. So I'm gonna do it. So I'll probably time lapse some of this, and some of this I'll probably do off camera, but that's kind of the plan I have right now. And Spooky plans on being annoying. This is maybe terrible, but the smell of glue like this reminds me of my youth. Lots of weird crafting I did. I also have tweezers, which might be the smarter person move, but... Oh, this dries fast. Shoot. Oh, dear God. Yeah, I'm gonna need my tweezers. Oh, dear. This is really gonna hurt my back, isn't it, Spooky? Look at that. It's a nice little extra bit of sparkle, and I'm not convinced this is focusing on anything I wanted to focus on. I'm now worried I didn't get enough rhinestones, though. I forgot how long. Stop it! Stop. Alright, I'm just coming to say hello. We're now going to drop into hyperspeed mode because all the rest of this is going to be rhinestoning. So first things first, I started by putting rhinestones around the rim of both cup tops. And then after that, I moved on to the cup. The cup was a very intensive rhinestoning process, and I got super hyper focused and all of a sudden like looked up and it was 6 hours later before I was done. And so I didn't take care of myself well during this project. And honestly, my body felt it for the next few days. This was not a good idea. I do not recommend rhinestoning something while smelling like not great glue fumes for 6 hours. However, the results did turn out really, really beautiful, and I'm excited to show you the final reveal. Alright, so that wraps up this project. I hope you really, really enjoyed the reveal. I had such fun filming it. People were very excited about my outfit. I've just gotten used to the attention. I don't super love the attention, but I'm now more okay with it. And I don't know if you saw that dog, the little mint dog. His name is Cujo Killer, and he was so cute, and his owner was so nice to let me like take a little walk with him and take some photos with him, since he perfectly matched my Baja vibes. So I looked even crazier. It was perfect. So if she's watching this video, big thank you. That was super fun. And always a big thank you to my friends. They came out and filmed this for me because I have a harder time filming alone in places that public because I'm moving my tripod around and it just takes a lot more time, so they made it much more quick and painless. And I of course got another Baja Blast while we were there, as well as a crunch wrap. So I am starting a new segment. I've been thinking on my channel how I can bring more awareness to kind of fast fashion and sustainability issues, specifically around like paying seamstresses what they deserve and things like that. And then I also think it's really interesting when I watch projects like this, I always wonder what people spend on making them. So I just want to make this all really transparent with you guys and do a new segment that I'm gonna like basically call like, what did this cost? And so in this segment, I'm going to be adding up the cost of supplies as well as the cost of man hours. I'm going to be making that, and then what like this would cost then if I was like going to sell a piece like this per se, or you were going to buy a handmade piece. I just think it's really important to bring awareness around how long sewing takes and how much materials cost, because materials are pretty expensive. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and pop into that segment right now. So let's break down this project. So first of all, the fabric, which is the most important part, was $256. This was mainly because I went with silk for the lining. I don't know why I was so insistent on that when the top layer was polyester, but I just felt like it should be silk. So I think that was like $22 a yard, and then the top fabric was $17 a yard, and I needed a pretty big yardage for this project. And then the pattern was only $10.97 because it was in poor condition. And then the other miscellaneous supplies I used, like the resin, the Baja Blast cups, the rhinestones, and everything like that, was $99. This doesn't even count all the supplies I bought but didn't use because I didn't really know what I was doing. And then the last cost, which is the most complicated, is the labor. So I calculated this by looking at some job listings for seamstress, which put the pay at about $25 an hour here in Seattle. And then I multiplied it by the number of hours I worked on this project, which was 20, to get a $500 total if you were going to pay someone to do this. I kind of went back and forth a bit about how to talk about the labor here, because I went back and forth on whether I should charge what my hourly would be if I was making my current salary, or if I should charge what a living wage is in Seattle, or if I should charge what like a seamstress would make in Seattle. A seamstress does not make a living wage, so that was just kind of tricky. Let me know what your opinions are on how I should calculate like how much like the labor would cost an hour. I just am kind of curious to know your opinion. So definitely leave a comment down below for that. But overall, this made a really, really expensive project, coming out at about $866 between supplies and labor. Labor, of course, being the most expensive part, but the supplies were nothing to blink at either. This is easily a designer dress. So I just thought this was kind of an interesting number to look at, and I hope you found it interesting too. But now let's jump back to our regular outro content. So now that we have added all that up, this was a really expensive project, all things considered. For me, it was definitely worth it. I absolutely adore my Baja Blast purse. I'm gonna take off the chain, but I'm definitely gonna have this displayed somewhere in my house because it is too cute not to. And then the hat, I think I'll put the hat on my hat wall like I put all my other hats. But I'm super proud of these, especially because I did something I'd never done before in trying resin, and I still think it turned out great, and I really like it. It's not quite the right color, but it's close enough. And then I absolutely love the bedazzling I did. I've also never bedazzled things like this before, and so, I don't know, I thought it was fun. This is not necessarily my wheelhouse, so it was fun to do these accessories, and that in doing these accessories, it made it so the dress was much more practical. So this dress is never going to obviously be a completely practical dress because it is shiny. Oh, there's a bug on it, but it's fine. So this dress is not the best sewing I've ever done. It's pretty darn good. However, there's lots of little errors in it. Just like nothing turned out exactly, like everything's a little bit messier than I prefer, especially the zipper down the back is pretty lumpy. However, this was a really hard fabric to work with, so I'm pretty proud of what I was able to do considering, yeah, how challenging this was. I absolutely love this sleeve silhouette. I'm gonna be sticking the sleeves from this pattern on like everything from here on out. It is too big in the shoulders, which is a never-ending problem for me. My shoulders are really small and narrow. Spooky right now is playing down at the hem of this fabric. She absolutely adores this fabric, which drives me nuts. She's like yanking on it right now. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm actively battling her to hold this here for you. I really love it. I'm definitely going to wear it in the future to anything fancy I go to, which is not very many things, but I think it's really pretty and was definitely worth making. And now she's like staring at me scarily from down below. I was gonna make another point and I lost it. I'm definitely gonna be purchasing other shades of this fabric and making stuff with it in the future because I think this is such a fun fabric. I've ordered swatches of all of the other colors so I can just have them in case they inspire me in some way. So yeah, that wraps this up. I hope you enjoyed this video. I had so much fun with this project. This is maybe one of my like funnest process. I will say this dress is not my favorite dress I've ever made. I think it's really beautiful and I will wear it. But this project definitely just like gave me the most joy to make because it was so over the top and kind of silly, and I absolutely love like kind of this like type of humor. I thought this whole thing was hilarious. I thought walking around like Taco Bell to take all the different shots we took in my dress was hilarious. I don't know. I thought the whole thing was funny and it gave me a lot of joy. So I hope it gave you a lot of joy too. If you want to support this channel, you can always do that by giving me a tip over on Ko-fi. And then of course, there's always the usual ways of liking this video, subscribing, and leaving a comment down below. I would love to know what your favorite trashy soda beverage is. Again, thank you so much for watching and I will see you next time. Bye!